chances that I missed. Some I held, some slipped away. One street over where my memories exist. I wondered what would change. I really couldn't say. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing. I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today. Time's gone by, I've traded like dirt into clay. I thought my memories would end. One street over's now 1,000 miles away. When I close my eyes, I'm back to where I've been. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing. I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today.
Good morning. It's Friday, y'all. This is 1100 WSGI. I'm U-Turn LaVern, and yeah, this is one street over. You know what we're doing here if you've been around a while. This is a chance for us to just find out what's happening. One street over from where you're living. Hope you're living right. Got some rain around today. We need it. We need it. We need it. I know, people are like, oh, it's raining, but, it's refreshing, and it's what we're going to need. Think about this summer when it's going to get super hot and dry. We need to replenish those storehouses of rain. So need those spring showers, and so we're getting some of that today. Hope you got a great weekend planned. If you miss, I've got Chris Villines. I think I'm saying his last name correctly. Chris is on his way in. He had to drive in quite a way, so he's just a few minutes behind schedule. He'll be here in a minute, but he's with Stay Positive News, and this is something that we have been helping to promote because it's just a cool thing. We all do better if we look for the positive things in life, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about what Stay Positive News is doing in the world of sports here in Robertson County. And yes, I know this is Faith Friday, but Chris is a follower of Jesus Christ, just like me and most of the people that come in here. And so I told him, I said, it's Faith Friday, so let's talk faith stuff too. But he's only available on Friday. So we've been working to get him in here. Nonetheless, he'll be in here in just a moment, and we'll get to know him a little bit and talk about what they're doing with Stay Positive News. But while we're waiting for him to get here, last night I had the great privilege of being a part of the fundraiser that they have every year at First Baptist Church in Hendersonville for Decisions, Choices, and Options. And if you know me at all and have heard the show much, you have heard me talk about DCO, is what we call it, but Decisions, Choices, and Options. Joy Wassel. This is something she founded, 20-something years ago now, that she was a school teacher, and she just saw a great need for kids to be taught the truth about sexuality and, be told that, you don't have to be sexually active. Abstinence is a choice, and to be taught about the option of adoption instead of just being pushed abortion all the time. And so she just saw this, she had a passion for this, and she just started teaching it. She did it on her own at first, and it has become a nonprofit that's amazing. Just looking at the report they gave last night, I've been somebody that lends my support to it in the small way that I can for a while now. I forget exactly when I came on board to say, yes, I want to support this every month. And life preserver support is what we call it. And we would love to invite you to be a part of it, because I took some friends of mine last night that I've mentioned it to several times, but just to see their reaction when they saw what's happening through decisions and choices and options in the schools. One of my friends, she's actually from Kentucky, and she has a house here in Tennessee as well. And I just saw her reaction, like, we've got to get this in Kentucky. And it just did my heart so good. And another friend of mine that's a, retired teacher, she's like, man, that looks like something that I might want to be involved in. And so, and just others that just took paperwork. And I've got another fellow colleague, and I don't want to call their names out because I don't want to put them on the spot, but one of my colleagues is a teacher. Come on in, Chris. And one of my colleagues is a teacher, just was so impressed with it. It's just so much positivity that came out of Decisions, Choices, and Options fundraiser last night. Come on in here and sit down, Chris. And, while I'm on the positive news of Decisions, Choices, and Options, I'm going to have to call Rachel and say, we got to do a story. Are you familiar with Decisions, Choices, and Options? It's a program that goes into the schools and just really teaches our kiddos things that they're not being taught about their sexuality. But it's just awesome. It is just awesome. It's a game changer. It's making a difference in our schools, and that's where I was last night. So anyway, just hats off to the entire team at Decisions, Choices, and Options. We're going to be hearing more about them because we're going to have a dinner here in Robertson County in the fall. And there's just stuff going on all over. And every time I go to these fundraisers, I just get so fired up about that program because it is a game changer. It is a game changer for our kiddos, and the reduction of unplanned pregnancies in Sumner County since they began, 64%.
Wow.
That's a stat.
That's
a stat.
That's so substantial.
Yeah. Hi, Chris.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good. Now, I did hear you pronounce my name on the way in.
Okay, how did I say it?
You said Villin.
How did I say your name?
Think of the phrase, read between the lines.
The lines?
The lines.
Okay. Villines?
Yeah.
So I spelled it right.
Yeah.
The lines.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. How do you say Vivio? That's my name.
Vivio.
Oh, you heard me say it, didn't you? Ha ha! You cheated.
I've heard you on the air for years.
Oh man, thank you so much.
Were you ever on the air with George Plaster?
No, but I knew Hoss Allen.
Did you?
Yeah, and Hoss and him were George Plaster Sports, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I've got my guys mixed up. Yeah, I was thinking one of the old guys, but I never got to work with him. But I was people because I worked for so many different radio stations. People think I just worked for all of them, but I worked for the Clear Channel Group, which was 1510 WLAC, The Rock, 105.9. I worked on WSIX just for about a year, but they were part of our group. I was on the River 107 with Woody and Jim for a long time, and the Beat, which was 101 The Beat, which was a Christian radio station originally. And so while it was Christian, I was on that. But then when they turned to The Beat, I'm like, please take me off of here. This is not my thing. But anyway, so yeah, I've been around a while. 28 years I did traffic.
WLAC, did you ever know Bob Bell and
Oh, yes.
Bill King?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, Lord, yes. Oh, my gosh. How do you know them?
Oh, I go back a ways, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Bob's already passed.
Yeah.
But now, Bill, you keep up with Bill? What's he doing?
Bill is doing mostly,
I haven't seen him in years.
I think he does a podcast, and he's
Fun.
on some recruiting.
Yeah.
He's always big into recruiting.
Yes, he was. And
Yeah.
and I honestly and truthfully, we're going to go old school radio, y'all, on you. But whenever I was hired at LAC in 1984 when I was at Lipscomb. And my first job was to run talk shows. And I would be the board op to run the talk shows. Mm-hmm. And that's when I got to know those guys because they had the sports show, and I forget what they called it. But they had it, I can't remember what it was called, but there was like oh my gosh.
Sports night or?
I can't remember. Bill could tell you, but yeah, I'd love to see him.
Bob's a Springville guy.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he passed.
Bob Beller, real name.
Yeah, I know. Bob Beller, but he passed away, oh my goodness, 10 years ago, maybe?
10 years ago.
Yeah, I would say. But nonetheless, all these old folks,
Memories.
man. Yeah, fun stuff. Well, Chris, I'm so glad you're here. So glad and I was explaining to people that, you're only off on Friday. So this is Faith Friday, but you're a person of faith. So, we'll talk a little faith stuff. That's the thing about what the decisions, choices, and option things that I just can't get. They don't go in and preach at the kids, but it's all foundational stuff that as Christians we believe in, but it's just truth. It's just truth, and so it's just amazing. But where do you worship?
I worship at a little small United Methodist Church.
Okay.
If you're going to White House on 76, you hit the crossroads there, where the what's now an antique kind of junk place on the right.
Yes.
An old grocery store that my in-laws at one time used to own. It was Boyd Penson's little old grocery store for a long, long time.
Okay.
But if you turn right there next to the junk antique place.
I love the junk store.
Yeah, the junk store. A little tiny Methodist church called Mount Pleasant United Methodist Church.
Okay. Did you grow up? Did you say you grew up there?
My wife did.
Okay.
She grew up in that church.
That's cool.
That's the only church she ever went
Aw.
to. My wife is adopted and an only child.
Oh, wow.
She and her mother are more like sisters than they are mother-daughter. So
Isn't that sweet?
that she was bound and determined that's where she was going to get married, and we went for a little bit to Cross Plains United Methodist, where my parents go, and we decided we liked the smaller church feel a little better, and we've been there for 30 plus years now.
That's awesome. That's your family. I mean, that's your spiritual family. It's like I've been at the Madison Church of Christ since 1989, but and that's my family. That's my family, and I just can't live life without them.
On a good Sunday, we'll have 35 people for worship.
But that's a pretty big family. You know, people forget the early church. They met in homes. It wasn't these thousand. And it's all good. It's all good. Let's just do Jesus wherever we can and in any way we can. But these small, intimate churches, you can do things that those big ones can't, and then the big ones can do things the small ones can't. We all have our place in the body.
Yeah.
As you know, I mean, it's just so cool.
It blows my mind when I go to like a big church sometimes, and they've got the full band, and I'm like, whoa,
yeah.
Shock to the system a little bit.
Yeah.
But, we have our organist and we have our piano player, and we sing the good old United Methodist hymnal, Amazing Grace, and good old hymns there.
I love it. Well, and it's so funny because I'm CFC, and if you know anything about Church of Christ, it's a cappella. And we don't have instruments. Everybody's like, what? And I personally don't agree with that theology. I think it's just fine. And I'm actually part of a praise and worship band on Tuesday night for Celebrate Recovery up here at Epiphany Baptist, and they let me come in and play in the sandbox with them. I say, and it's just I just love all of it. I had a friend of mine. I went to Long Hollow to hear a guest speaker one time, and one of my friends that had gone to Madison was there, and she was like, I know the music's loud, she was thinking I was going to be, I'm like, no, I love it all, but like I said, I like it all. I like it all. I love the small intimate. I love the acapella. I love the praise and worship bands. I just love it all. It's just good.
The only concerning thing to me about our small congregation right now is it's an older congregation. And we're not getting that influx of the younger folks. I mean, we've had some new folks to join our church in the last year. We've had, I can think, roughly 6 or 7 people that have joined, but they're all of retirement age.
Yeah.
So, the younger generation now, that I think they like more of that contemporary feel. So there's a special kind of niche to get folks into to a little church like ours, and I pray for the future of our church. I hope we can sustain that, and because I'd say the average age of our congregation is probably mid 60s to early 70s. Yeah.
That's the thing, and it is hard. And you see the congregations that are back home where I grew up, kind of the same thing. And it's just you just have to just be praying over it. It's like, God, what do you want us to do? And because it's so funny. We've had some younger folks come into our congregation lately, and we had kind of gotten there too. But we're starting to see an influx of youth. So we'll pray that that your church has the same thing, that it can keep that, because you like that heritage. You love that old heritage, and it's just nice when you can just kind of just keep those things going and just remind people of our preacher Michael Ross. He's preached a sermon when he started in the fall. I think it was in the fall, but one of the first sermons, the first series he did was talking about how we're standing on their shoulders. Of all those who came before us, and we got to remember that. We need to remember that in our faith. We need to remember that in our as our nation, all the things, the shoulders that we're standing on, and everybody just did the best they knew how to do. They didn't do it perfect. Oh my Lord, none of us do.
No.
But we're standing on their shoulders, and they were doing the best they knew how to do, and so we just got to do the best we know how to do and move on, man.
Yeah.
But Chris, Villines. Oh, I got it.
You got it.
Between the lines, I like it. Villines, I got it. All right, Chris Villines is my guest this morning. And he is part of the Stay Positive News. I talked to Donnie on he's part of the board with us with the recovery court.
Yeah.
And so he was there at the graduation yesterday, and of course Jamie Nixon and then Rachel is involved. And so the whole thing with Stay Positive News, we were just talking about, Donnie and I were talking that, everybody says they want positive news, but they still kind of gravitate to the darker side. It's like the things that are alarming and so we just want to encourage you guys, turn to Stay Positive News. Turn to staypositive.news, right?
Right.
Staypositive.news.
Yeah.
And you can follow them on social media, and you'll see the little smiley face logo. I love it. But it's just a place where you can get a positive spin on the news and just things that are going on in Sumner and Robertson County. And y'all cover the kiddos in sports, which I just love. I love my kids. It's so much fun. Being a school teacher has been one of the greatest blessings ever. I love it so much. What do you do for a living?
I work for Tractor Supply Company.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in there.
I love Tractor Supply.
Yeah, I'm in quality and training for the customer solutions area.
Oh, okay.
So all about taking care of the people that keep us afloat.
Oh my goodness!
I often say without customers there is no Tractor Supply. So
I love it.
Kind of behooves us to take care of them.
Well, I've got some seniors about to graduate that are not necessarily going to school. Are y'all hiring?
Well, our stores are always looking for good team members. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. White House, Portland, Gallatin, Springfield, Lafayette, all around here, Old Hickory. Yes, we are. That is, the workforce in retail right now is always fluctuating, and there's a lot of turnover, it seems. But Tractor Supply is a great place to work.
I've heard that.
They treat their employees A1. We have a culture that we believe in. Do the right thing, do it honestly, communicate openly, and that goes through to every part of the facet of the business.
Well, and that we had a career fair yesterday morning. Thank you, Robertson County Chamber, all of y'all that put that on for the seniors in the county.
Yeah.
And they had it at the library. And that's why when you mentioned Tractor Supply, I thought, oh, that's a great company I need to, because I've got several seniors that I have in my classes that they're not going to college at all or immediately, or and so they're looking for the different options. And I need to remember to say, hey, Tractor Supply, I've heard I had a friend of mine that worked for Tractor Supply for years and years and just loved it.
Yeah.
And so it's a great company. It is a great company. Very good. We're talking with Chris Villines. I'm just got to think about it. But Chris Villines, and he is here to talk to us about Stay Positive News and the stuff that you do. What kind of stuff do you look for? Do you cover in the sports coverage? Do you look for those kind of human interest stories, or do you cover just the games and things like that? What is your focus when it comes to sports in the county?
I'm looking for a good
counties in the area.
Good human interest stories, kind of the story behind the story. The one that just landed on our site yesterday about a young man from Greenbrier, Nathan Robinson, graduated last year, or was it 2 years ago? Anyway, he played on the football team
last year,
and he is at the University of Tennessee now. He's the first Division I scholarship football player from Greenbrier since 1962.
Oh, that's wild.
And
that's wonderful.
Is a very impressive young man, very mature.
He really is.
Very mannerly. When I spoke to him, it was yes, sir, no, sir. He grew up, and that's kind of part of the crux of the article. He grew up, his father was a Marine. So you know how Marines are, very disciplined, very structured, very, to the letter. And that's Sean, his father, raised Nathan, that way in a loving but disciplined manner, and that's serving him well on the football field because he is focused and disciplined and determined to be a contributor on that team, and he's getting repetitions with the second team defense right now.
That's
and
awesome.
And could move up. With
That is wonderful.
There's a lot of time left before they kick that ball off of the first game, so he could definitely move up to the first team if he keeps showing the promise that he has.
And he's still so young. I mean, his career. He's got 3 more years. At least.
Yeah.
Did they redshirt him first year?
Yes, because
So he'll have 4 years of eligibility.
Yeah, that's in the story too. He played in that first game last year. They played Virginia over at Nissan Stadium. He didn't get hurt in that game. He was already kind of sporting a nagging labrum injury. Mm-hmm. So, they wanted to get him a little, time on the field. So he got in for a few snaps, and he knew that his time, if he didn't redshirt, was going to be pretty limited for the year. So they made the decision to shut him down for the year, get the surgery done, and come back this spring 100%. So that's what he's done, and he's turning heads.
Well, I love this because, I do the audio video program at Greenbrier. Mm-hmm. And so this will be in our news for Monday. I will put this story link in the news for Monday because I had to hustle and push one out this morning for today because we try to do a news report. We are doing a news report, not try, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Eventually, I'd love to do one every day, but it's just trying to get all the wheels in motion and get everything in place to do it. Mm-hmm. But I will make sure this is in because we're going to cut the newscast today for Monday. So I'll be sure and link this and we'll talk about this. Everybody will be thrilled to see this. I just shared it on my page and I'll pass it on to the Greenbrier page too because Miss Grimes may have already spotted it. She's pretty good. And so she may have spotted it and she may already have it out there, but I'll make sure that they see that and I'll link it today.
Yeah.
So to the school. Absolutely.
Well, I was in correspondence with John yesterday, Elmore, and of course he's the football coach there at Greenbrier.
Yes.
John and I graduated high school together, been friends for years, and he messaged me back. Becky, his wife. He said Becky read it and cried.
Aww.
So that made me. I don't like to make somebody.
Well, no, but that's perfectly fine. I mean, you want that emotion in it because we're all very proud of this young man. I never had the opportunity or the blessing to really get to know him because I came along right at the end of his school career, and because he graduated early, so I was only on campus for one semester with him.
Really?
Yeah, because the year he graduated was my first year there, and then he graduated early because he was ready to get to UT.
Oh yeah.
And so he had things to do. So, I just really never really got the pleasure of getting to know him, but I've just heard nothing but positive things. Impressive young man.
Well, that whole family, really cool. That whole Robinson family, just in speaking to Sean and speaking to Nathan and hearing the reverence they have for each other. I mean, there are 4 kids in that family. So, Nathan being the oldest. So you've got, Nathan, you've got Madeline, who's 13 or 14 now, and she's an up-and-coming volleyball player. And I think Lauren maybe is the next oldest, and she's 10, I believe.
Okay.
And then Grant, I think, is the youngest, and he is 7. But they're all, doing their own thing athletically. And they're all, from what I hear, excellent academically. So that family's got its priorities right and their head in the right place. And Sean is a big follower of Jesus Christ. And, that's what kind of turned his life around when he was a Marine, was getting that daily dose of the gospel. And that's, of course, in the story where he prayed to God every day, God, lead me on the path, and I need to get home for my my soon to be born son, who was Nathan. Yeah. And then during his time in Iraq, as it mentions, he had a very close call where they took on Iraqi fire, and a bullet he thought hit him in the back. Thank goodness he had a backpack on and a machete that he normally wouldn't wear. He said was a strap to his back, and the bullet somehow ricocheted. When he felt the impact, of the bullet, he felt it on the back of his head, and he thought he thought he'd been hit. He thought he was dead. It was water, where the bullet had hit his canteen, I think, and made the water leak out of it. And but he, God meant for him to come home and be with his son.
Is that in the story?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I just shared that with Miss Grimes. I mean, she may have already found it, but I was just like, oh, we got to get this out. So I just sent her the link to make sure. I was like, have you seen this? Yeah. Everybody will be very excited about this. Everybody will be very excited about this at old Greenbrier at Bobcat Country today.
Yeah,
so
well,
that's really cool.
That's the kind of story
that's wonderful.
I'm trying to search for. Everybody. A lot of people know that Nathan went to UT, but some people might know a little bit of the backstory on the history of him and his family, and
that's cool.
So that's the kind of thing I look for. But just in a positive spin, be it, it could be down to T-ball level. But, stories of, there might be kids that are fighting odds that are able to compete in sports. I know I did a story last year in White House about I'm going to get the name of the league wrong, but it's kind of like a challenger kind of league where, kids who have, emotional and physical limitations that won't allow them to play on a regular little league team, or they form their own league for these kids, and they have a blast out there playing, gives inclusion to them. And
that's great.
Yeah.
Well, see, we have one locally here in Springfield that is special needs. Mm-hmm. Have you seen that one, the Buddies?
Yeah.
And have you done anything on that?
Not done anything on the Buddies.
See, I need to go. I've got to go. I've been telling Terry, I've been trying to get out there just to see him on Saturday playing.
I'm not saying we haven't done that. Someone else on our staff may have done this in the past. Okay. I'm not sure. We've done so many stories, I have to go back through the bank here, but I am definitely familiar with that program.
Yeah, and that's something we all need to go out and visit that. I know my kids, I have grandchildren that are playing sports in Mount Juliet. So that unfortunately keeps me from being able to get there because, it's just been the same time on the games. They've just been playing at the exact same time. But I would love to get over there and see the Buddies League while they're still playing. But that's just, there's so many, those are the kinds of things. Stay Positive News. Stay Positive .news. StayPositive.news. And I just love our affiliation with you guys and getting Rachel in here. Yeah. She comes in on the second Wednesday of the month. She's been doing that for about 3 months. Mm-hmm. And we're just getting that relationship going. It's like I was talking to Donnie, and he said, we just got to keep pushing it out there. So anything you can do to help us spread the word about StayPositive.news, do it.
Yeah.
And just get more people on board with looking at these stories that have just make your heart happy.
Yeah.
And I know we got to stay up to date on what's happening in the old world, but let's get real about what's real.
On that front, we have there is a side we've got our Facebook page, but now there's kind of a side group. Stay Positive News group now that's on Facebook where it's specifically designed for folks to come on and give story ideas, thoughts on things that we could cover. We try to stay in abreast of things, but we can't always, and there may be some great stories out there to uncover. That we could be glad to do, and I did the story on Ronnie Matthews, the coach there at Springfield baseball, and what a neat thing that was to get to know him and write about that. But things like that, the story behind the story. People might have known, hey, yeah, he's the new coach of Springfield High. Well, you may not know how he got to that or what his background was. Yeah. He was in the Army for all those years and put in the time, served our country well, was looking for a new opportunity, and God led him to Springfield High to coach baseball, which is his passion. So he says, he doesn't really look at it. He's getting up, going to a job every day. I get to go and coach baseball and teach every day. What a neat, you couldn't ask for any more than that.
Yeah, we have the same. My husband and I both are in the school system teaching now, and that's how we feel. We just we get to do this. This is so cool.
My
We're
wife
having
too.
So much fun.
My wife is in her 32nd year of teaching.
God bless them. See, it's so fun. We were, I don't know where we were yesterday, and I said something about, we were getting his passport done. We were up at the office getting that done, and something was said about what we do, and I said, well, we retired into teaching, and they're like, well, I don't think I've heard heard anybody do that. There's several of us. I mean, there's several folks that are seen coming out of careers. So we're career teachers. We're in the CTE program, and we're like, I think I want to work with the kiddos, and are retiring into teaching, and we're just loving it. It's just wonderful.
Well, there's
So much
definitely a
fun.
need there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of sad to see, that so many are not entering the education field now. I know when my daughter graduated from MTSU a year and a half ago, during the commencement ceremony, the School of Education graduating pool was very shallow. I was shocked. I mean, there were only 25, 30 names going across that stage.
That's
where
not enough.
it used to be, it'd be over 100 easily.
Yeah.
But people are getting scared off by, the kids are bad and they're not like they were.
No, they're not. There's a lot of hurting kids is what it is. There's a lot of kids that's just, they're just hurting. They just need somebody to just love on them and just say, hey, you matter and I care.
Yeah.
And mean it, and that's the thing. And if you've got that in your heart, come on, we need you. But yeah, what you're saying is definitely, I'll have to get on Rachel. She needs to do a retiring to teaching story. That'd be a good one. Yeah.
That would be a good one.
Retiring into teaching.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll help her write that. Or she's been, because I'm a writer too, and I just don't have time to write anything right now. But that's another aspect of it. Is that, how did you get involved with this? Did they approach you, or did you submit something?
No,
Because I know written by our readers is a thing on staypositive.news. How did you get involved with them?
Well, I knew I'd seen where Jamie and Donnie had kind of laid the groundwork for this, and I admire both of them. They're men of faith. I know their principles are strong. I thought, well, if this is something they're getting involved in and trying to launch, I'd like to explore. I've always, I say I've got ink in my blood and I can't get it out.
I hear you. I got you.
So
yeah, I get that. Me too.
I do some writing for Tractor Supply, but it's more of a technical nature and more, kind of off the path of what I've done in the past. But and then they were looking at the time. They were looking for an editor, and I kind of thought, well, maybe I could explore that. But I didn't know they'd already been talking and kind of had already laid the groundwork with Rachel. Rachel, perfect timing for her because she was just leaving and looking, and she is. You could not copy and paste a better fit.
I agree.
For this than Rachel.
Yeah.
She is a top quality human being. She is, the face of Stay Positive News, and a lot prettier than me. I mean, I'm a face made for radio, but I used to say
no. Listen,
but she's done
perfect.
a remarkable
She really is.
job. She is a hard worker. She's tireless in wanting to grow Stay Positive News to bigger and better things, and I would follow her and Jamie and Donnie into a fire. So they're that kind of people. So that's the kind of folk. When I heard that was launching, I thought I could contribute to that. I can't do it full time, but I would love to write for them, and I do writing, I do editing too. A lot of the stories that the other writers will turn in before they see the final piece that you read.
Gotcha.
I will go in and edit those pieces.
Well, and you need that. That's one thing. You can't have enough people looking at your stuff. That's something I've learned over the years. Writing is I'll think, oh, it's perfect, and then somebody will go, and then you just start making corrections on it. I'm like, oh. So you need those eyes, because after you've written something, you just kind of gloss over the things because you know what's next. When you're writing, So, but
well, and what's interesting too is each of our writers. We all have our own style in ways. I mean, you've got Miss Mabel.
I love Miss Mabel.
Who's that's a definite.
That's awesome.
Definite style of writing.
Yes.
We've got another couple of writers who are they were more in the literary kind of writing world. So their writing can be more long form, and this is more of a news. Stay Positive News. So I go back. I harken back to my days at Belmont and J School at Belmont, and it was like, get your lead out there.
Journalism school.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't make your lead more than 30, 35 words. You're going to lose the reader. your lead paragraph needs to be succinct. Just kind of tease the story a little bit in that first paragraph, and then get into the guts. Don't bring everything out all at once. So you have to, sometimes you have to kind of rein that in a little bit. But we have a wonderful group of writing talent, and are always looking for more. So if anybody's looking for, a writing gig that has a background in writing, Stay Positive News, and wants to write about positive things, Stay Positive News could be your outlet for that.
Yes, for sure. And that's when we were talking about the written by our readers is an interesting feature, because it's fiction. Some of it. Yeah. Now, I don't know. I think most of it's fiction, but it's Table for Two, Running on Encouragement, Affairs of the Heart. But those are like little short stories. And I think that's a great idea, too. And again, if you just have a story idea and you would like to submit it, absolutely. And maybe it needs a little work, and it may not need a thing before it gets published. But it is just a great outlet. It's a great source of encouragement. And again, as Donnie and I were talking yesterday at the graduation, you say you want positive news. Come on, do it. Here it is.
Yeah.
Here it is.
I mean, that's if I never hear the words Trump trial again, it won't be too soon.
I am with you completely. Do you know it's already almost 25 till? Oh, it's 25 till. Gee.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh, it goes fast.
It does go
just
fast.
Talk. Yeah, I know. People, they're like, you really want me in there for 30 minutes? I'm like, oh, come do an hour. And they're like, oh, it goes just like that. When you're having fun, we got to take some breaks.
Yep.
So let me take my commercial breaks here. We're talking with Chris Villines, and he is with Stay Positive News, the sports side. That's where he focuses. And so we're talking about that and just all things positive. And isn't that what faith is all about here at Faith Friday on one street over here at 1100 WSGI. As we pause for a moment, we got a big invitation for you. It is opening race night tomorrow night at Veterans Motorplex. And, oh, man, Jerry wants to see you out there, guys. It's been racing season since March, okay? And he's been advertising because he wants to make sure you know that there's nothing, they're racing out there. Racing season was... The first race was delayed a little bit because they wanted to make some track improvements, and they had to wait for the weather to improve. And the weather didn't necessarily cooperate with what they were wanting to do out there, but it is now. And they got the improvements done. It looks beautiful. This is just a beautiful track, as they describe it. It is a fast, quarter-mile high, banked asphalt bull ring. And if you've not been to the races, this is the old Highland Rim Speedway. Follow them on social media at Highland Rim Speedway. They kept that social media page, but they changed the name Veterans Motorplex when it went under new ownership. And this is a faith person too. Jerry is veteran, just a good guy. And oh my goodness, it's so much fun. If you've not been to the races, you got to get out there because it's exciting. I had no idea I enjoyed the races. I've been to a lot of races in my radio career for events, and I'd do the, do the thing that they wanted us to do from the radio station. Then I'd leave and wouldn't really stay for the race. And so for the first time, I went to Veterans and stayed for the race, and I was so excited. It was so much fun. And, they have there's teenagers out there racing. Sometimes they'll have, kids racing. It is just an absolute blast. Local heroes. It is so much fun. And it's family friendly. There's no alcohol on the premises, no alcohol served, no alcohol allowed. That's different. And that makes it special. They got a great concession stand. A lot of the neighborhood kids will get their first job at Veterans Motorplex. But you can call Jerry if you have questions, 615-430-3135, 430-3135. The big thing, that $40 ticket will get up to 8 people in, and that's up to 6 kids and 2 adults for $40. They've got that ticket available again. You're going to love it. It's a great time. Get on out there. The racing starts. We're racing this weekend on Saturday for the first race of the season, but the season's been going for a while, and they've made it awful pretty out there. Veterans Motorplex, 6801 Kelly Willis Road in Greenbrier. And when you go by, always let them know U-Turn sent you. Talking with Chris Villines. He is with Stay Positive News, and we just love all things staypositive.news. Staypositive.news.
You were talking about Veteran Sportsplex. I grew up a half mile from there.
Oh, my.
On Gideon Road.
Yeah.
And you would hear the races every Saturday night.
Yeah.
If the wind's blowing right, from where I live in White House, you can, if the wind's in a certain direction, you can hear the
Wow.
racetrack from there, and that
Yeah.
that really brings back memories of my childhood.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a neat place, and so cool that it's held on for as long as it has.
It really
When
is.
a lot of local little tracks have shut down.
You bet. And this one, I think they just breathed new life into it. They really did. I can remember when they took the sign on the road and they changed it, and I thought, what's going on at the motor play? At the racetrack, and got to know Jerry, and just he's been a sponsor ever since, and we just love him. And I'm trying to get him in here though to talk. He's busy. Every time I reach out to him, well, I'm out of town and I'm here and I'm there, and so, but we just want to get as many people out there as possible tomorrow night, and it's going to be an awesome open and race night. So,
Oh, yeah.
y'all need to do a story on them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you took the thought right out of my head
Yeah.
when you were saying that. We need to do something.
Yes,
on them.
for sure.
My wife's cousin, I'm her cousin by marriage, but Renee Hicks, if you're listening, Renee, hello, or Kenny or anybody, their daughter Cassie, who has Down syndrome, she was, I think, she got to wave the flag last year out there.
They always do a fundraiser for Down syndrome.
She was crowned Miss Veterans Motorplex last year.
Oh, how fun!
So yeah, that family, Renee and her family have a deep tie to that. Her father used to race out there.
Yeah.
Jimmy Libin Good, and my father-in-law, W.G. Jones, rest his soul. He loved going out there to the races, and he would take my son Brad out there, and they wouldn't go every week, but he loved going out there to Highland Rim, and I did go a time or two when I was growing up. I wouldn't say I was a big racing enthusiast, but I was just curious. I thought, I want to see what this is all about. So I checked that off my list. My ears rang for days, and I thought, well, I've got to go to a NASCAR race one time. So a few years back, Melissa, my wife, and my mother-in-law and I went to Bristol and went to the night race at Bristol.
Okay.
So check mark, I can say I've done that.
That's great. But this one, I love that we have this here in Robertson County.
Yeah.
It is just wonderful. It is a treasure and just so much fun. But y'all got to do a story on
You'd be surprised who's raced out there. I mean,
know.
in the past, there's a who's who of people. Sterling Marlin ran out there, I believe, at one time. Or his dad, Cuckoo Marlin, who was a NASCAR racer at one time.
Yeah.
I want to say Darrell Waltrip was out there at one time, Bobby Hamilton. So people that are kind of known names in NASCAR.
That's cool. On these small tracks, man, you never know where they're going to get started. And I listen to some of my kiddos that race, and one of my boys in my class, Miss Vivio, I race out there. I'm like, are you kidding me? I had no idea. And they trust you with a race car, you little knucklehead. But no, a great kid. But it's just it's fun. It's a fun place. So what else you want to talk about? What else you got for us tonight?
Well, I was just looking through some positives about some spring sports in high school that are going on right now, and I wanted to mention, White House Heritage right now is on a 17-game baseball winning streak.
Oh, wow! Congratulations.
They're top 10 in the state.
Yeah.
And just rolling right along right now. They are really doing good things there. Joe Burns softball. They are, I believe, top 10 in the state.
Okay.
Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but they are a force this year. Springfield softball, I was looking last night. From what I've seen, they've won 5 of their last 6 games.
Okay.
So Daniel Owsley is the coach there at Springfield softball. Went to Greenbrier with me. I've known Daniel for years, so I know he's a very good coach there. Going across the county lines here, the new high school in Sumner County, Liberty Creek, which if you have not been by that high school,
that's impressive.
make a trip.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It is a gorgeous campus there.
Yeah.
But their boys soccer team is doing real well this year, and I believe they are top 10 in their class. And their softball team is 17-7, and I think ranked right now. But the Liberty Creek has got a lot of folks that were at Robertson County Schools at one time that they wanted to see the new opportunity, and more of the facilities out there are second to none. I mean, you would think you were entering a private school campus when you go out there.
Liberty Creek is impressive. We had to play them in soccer the other night, and the kids were, I said, Liberty Creek. And they're like, yeah, it's the new school. And they were just like, all, big shouldered up. And I was just like, oh, they got pride in that school. But that's really cool. But yeah, it is a beautiful place. It is a beautiful school.
I mean, they've got their own indoor practice complex that would rival any, small college. I mean, it's, they have really poured the resources into that place. So, but those are some things. I mean, last year, going back to our just kind of positive news, last year in baseball, 4 of our county's 5 high schools made the state tournament in baseball last year.
Oh, wow.
Heritage, East Robertson, Joe Burns, and Greenbrier all made the state tournament last year.
That's awesome.
You can't name a county around here, anywhere probably in the state, that had that amount of representation in the state tournament.
That's pretty impressive. That's the thing. And in wrestling, I had a wrestler in my class, and they've had a state presence for the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. I know have sent wrestlers to state.
Yeah.
And so I wonder, and I don't know about track and how they're going to do in track. Do you know much about track? My husband actually helps coach the Springfield shot put and disc, and a little bit with even Greenbrier, but I don't know how well they're doing. I think they're just kind of getting their feet wet with shot put and disc, but I don't know if we've got any really strong runners or anything like that. I know they're going to compete from the county.
Oh, Heritage has traditionally had a good cross country program.
Okay.
I know they've had state tournament representation in the past.
Okay.
But yeah, I would say my deep knowledge of track and field is not very.
It's horrible because it's so independent. I mean, these students. I mean, that's one thing. I beg my teachers and everybody, just keep me as informed as you can on what the kids are doing. We had senior night for baseball last night at Greenbrier, and I wasn't aware of it, so it's not in my news reports. But just and God bless these teachers are just covered up with work themselves, especially the ones that are teaching and coaching. I can't imagine trying to coach and teach. So nonetheless, it's a lot, but trying to keep up to date with all this stuff, and so much of the track and field is so individualized. And so I tell the kids, I said, let me know what's going on, and let's get this out there, and let's help promote these kids and acknowledge their accomplishments, because it's awesome.
Yeah, I marvel at some of these, at the discipline and the work ethic that some of these kids have that it takes to be great. They're willing to put in that time. They're up before sunrise. They're out there at the track. They're running. They're lifting weights. They're doing whatever it takes to be a level above everyone else. And, that takes a tremendous amount of discipline. So that's the kind of story I'm looking for. If anybody has, for Stay Positive News, if there's, a standout who has a really intriguing story about how they've become where they are and achieved what they are, be it track and field, high school tennis. Is there a tennis store out there?
Yes, tennis. And that's another thing. Their districts are going on right now for tennis. And I didn't even know we had a team until, the season started. And Coach Mason's been keeping me up to date on those matches. But they're in tournament right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Curtis Holland out here at Springfield has been there for years. Curtis is he would be somebody I could do a story on for Stay Positive News, because he's been a fixture on the tennis scene here in Springfield for ages.
Yeah.
I think I might have gotten some lessons from him at one time. And I know he ran a summer league out here in Springfield. Oh
yeah, he's awesome. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Good
he's been
guy.
In here before, but there's just so many wonderful things in sports. So if you've got any of those positive stories that are sports directed, Chris is the person you need to direct it to. How can they get in touch with you? What would be the best way if they had a story idea to send it to you?
My email.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and give them that?
It's my email address is my last name, Villines. It's V like Vanderbilt, ILLIN like Nancy, ES, the number 6 at iCloud.com.
Okay.
That is the best way to reach me.
Give it one more time for me.
Yeah. Again, it's Villines, V like Vanderbilt, ILLINES, the number 6 at iCloud.com.
Okay. And if you think about it, put that in comments and on social media, and that way people will have it, and that way you can get in touch with them. And you can too go to staypositive.news and just send a message through the website, I would imagine, and they'll forward it.
Yes.
To you. I would imagine they would
You
do that.
can also join the Facebook group that we have for Stay Positive News now, and submit ideas that way as well.
Now, you say the Facebook page for Stay Positive News, and there's just the one, right? Because I go Stay Positive.
Right.
Like, is this the one you're talking about? Because I the one with the
Yes.
one with Jamie and Donnie
Yes.
and Rachel on the front. Okay.
Yes.
And that one, it's so funny because I was following that page, but I hadn't liked the page, so I went in and liked it. But that's something when on these things that we want to promote, we want to promote positive news and things like that. You need to follow them, you need to like them, you need to share them, and cannot say enough about that. Go in and you have news stories that pop up, share them. Yeah. I just shared the story that you wrote about that you wrote about our football player Nathan. Right, is his name
Nathan Robinson.
Yeah. Because again, I never really got to know him, but I know so much about him just because he's just a fine young man. But the story he wrote about Nathan and his football career and just all the positive things, so I shared that, and hopefully that will point more people to staypositive.news. So when we are what we consume, guys. We are what we consume. So let's consume good, positive things. It'll change you. It really will. It'll make such a difference in your life. I got to go ahead and do another break.
Sure.
Let's pause and talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. Barry and Rebecca Richards, Exit Prime. You're nodding like you know these people?
Know them well.
Okay, they're dear friends. I just think the world of them. And they're the way I got to know the Richards, it was because of the Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival. They invited me to be the host when they started this, and I got to know the Richardses there. And I was like, you need to come on and be a sponsor for the radio station. They were one of our first sponsors. They've been sponsoring the show from the very beginning. They're cross-Planians, I like to say. They've been there for almost 30 years now. So they specialize in Robertson County properties, but they also buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line in Kentucky because they're originally from Kentucky. So they know their stuff. And he's a marketer. You just cannot beat having a marketer on your team when it comes to real estate, guys. And he was a vice president of a media marketing company for 17 plus years in Nashville. He brings that expertise to the table and now is a broker here in Springfield. On the square is where you'll find his office. Rebecca's office, which is an agency office out of White House. They combined those two offices to give you a new branch in the Exit tree. So now they are Exit Prime Realty. It's a new name, but it's the same great company, the same great team with Exit. You're going to love working with these folks, guys. Just experts in everything they do. And if you know somebody that's wanting to get into real estate, give them a call. And they will help you. They'll mentor you. You can call Rebecca 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425. I love these folks. When you get in touch with them, please let them know that I sent you and tell them, thank them for sponsoring One Street Over and letting us keep doing what we're doing here at 1100 WSGI. So, this would be another thing you could talk about is the big old Bluegrass Festival coming up. We'll have to reach out to Rachel on that one. That's not a sports thing, but the Bluegrass Festival is coming up the 17th and 18th of May, and we'll be at Kilgore Park, and it's going to be just a great time. We could talk about that forever and ever. There's so much good stuff going on around town. But what else do you want to cover?
I mean, you don't get better than Barry and Becky.
Yeah,
they're
awesome.
Say that editorial. They go to church with my father. The old historic Villines Inn is up there in Cross Plains, right next to the Methodist church where Barry and Becky attend, and my father is a longtime member there, and my mother, when she was alive, rest her soul, went there. But dear friends and quality people. Barry's a beekeeper too. People may not know that.
Well, he's kind of set that aside.
Has he really?
He was like the beekeeper superhero, where people would call him to come get swarms, and he kind of, because of real estate, he's gotten so busy, and I don't think he's keeping bees now. See, I want to keep bees so bad, and he said, well, I'll help you once you decide to make the leap, but we just don't have time either. But I think that's fascinating. But yes, they were big beekeepers. His whole family. Oh yeah.
He's a past story subject of mine. I worked for 12 and a half years for Tennessee Farmers Co-op.
Okay.
Before I went to to Tractor Supply and wrote stories all over the state for them, and did a story on Barry and well, it was more about about the kind of the decline of the bees, in a way. But I thought, somebody said, do you know a local beekeeper? I'm like, well, yes, as a matter of fact, I do.
Yeah.
And he was the cover. He was on the cover of that issue of.
That's pretty cool.
The Cooperator, it's called.
Well, my daddy was president of the Graves County Co-op for years and years and years in Kentucky.
Yeah.
We're from the Mayfield area, and the Graves County Co-op was there in Mayfield, and he was president of that for forever. Mm-hmm. And so I love the co-op. I love the co-op. They're a lot of fun too. And my husband has put up in comments, mention the meet at MLK Park on Saturday. Yes, honey. The track meet, the local track meet, and you're going to see Greenbrier, you're going to see Springfield there, and I don't know who else is going to be there locally, but at MLK Park on Saturday, they got a big meet all day. So come on out and support the kids that are participating in the track meet. Now, we're just about out of time, and I still have one more spot to do. What else you want to talk about? We got a few minutes here. Yeah,
I mean, the main thing is just to implore to the readers out there to, if you've got something that you would like to that you think would be good for Stay Positive News, and especially on the sports side, please, think on things that hey, I know this would be a good story, something positive that would be good for our readership to have in there. I wanted to give an update on that on the group too that Stay Positive News has now. It's Stay Positive Mid TN.
Oh, okay. Let me see here. Okay, so the Stay Positive. So we've got a couple of them. Stay Positive News is the actual site for this. So Stay Positive. Okay, let me see if I can find it here. Mid TN.
Yes, and what that is.
Okay, let me see if I can pop this up here. Okay, yep, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll share that. So Stay Positive Mid TN. It's got 180 members, and I can join the group. It's a private group, but that way I've got a place where I can submit stuff, right?
Yeah,
okay.
This is a group. I'll read you just what Rachel put on here. This is a group for people of Middle Tennessee to share positive and uplifting stories from their everyday life to help inspire others. So it doesn't have to necessarily be a story idea. It can be just a positive, uplifting, a snippet that you want to put in here, or it could be a story, something that could lead to a greater, broader story. But it's all about positivity, whether it's the regular Facebook page or right here on the group.
Well, and it's just, I just now went in. Anytime you're going to submit to a private group, you have to, submit a little request to be honest. Like, do you agree to be positive? Do you agree to only submit things that are in this guidelines? And I just hit yes, 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 and sent my little request. So I've just joined the group, but they've got to approve it. So there is, that is, something that you need to do. But I love that. That's another more interactive page you can be a part of. So it's Stay Positive Mid MIDTN. Stay Positive Mid TN. If you want to be a part of that group, but then Stay Positive News is the regular social media page. So I'll be sure and share all of that on my personal page as well. And you can find me at LaVern U-Turn LaVern Vivio. LaVern U-Turn LaVern Vivio. And I know I got all kinds of stuff out there, but that's the one you want to stick with. And I mean, it's the one that you'll see current posts on. Trying to get rid of, I tell my kiddos, man, don't do anything on social media that you don't think will be there for the rest of your life, because trying to disengage from something that you've been a part of on social media, it's impossible.
It's hard.
It's impossible, but not impossible. But anyway, we're talking with Chris Villines. He is with StayPositive.news, StayPositive.news, carrying the positive things that we need to promote. Let's go ahead and talk about our last sponsor, and then we'll come back and say our goodbyes. Anything else you want to cover? But we need to talk about the Cumberland Connect. We started out, there was an ad running when we went on the air this morning about Cumberland Electric and how much we appreciate them sponsoring what we're doing here at 1100 WSGI, because they get it. And it's so important, because we now have opportunity to have our internet facilitated through our electric company, which is huge. So many of us that live very rural, I'm, out at the very dead end of a road for a commercial internet provider to come and bring me service. They're not going to do that. I'm down there by myself. It's not lucrative enough for them. But now, because it's part of the electric service, because it's a utility, it has replaced our phone lines. They have made it available for me, and I'm so excited. I've been a member with Cumberland Connect now for a little over a year. It is just awesome. Being able to have that connectivity and that quick upload and quick download. I'm a photographer too. And if I'm trying to do any work from home, I had to come up to the radio station and steal the internet here or at my church to do anything whenever I didn't have high-speed internet. So if you're a Cumberland Electric customer, you're going to have access now. If you want to know if they're ready to install it in your home, go to cumberlandconnect.org, cumberlandconnect.org, put in your address and they'll tell you, hey, we're ready. Let's go. You ready for us? And if you want to, you can just give them a call, 800-987-2362, 800-987-2362. If you don't really understand all the ins and outs of it, they'll help you. They're great customer service. They've got an affordable connectivity program, of course, that will help provide for qualifying households up to $30 per month for broadband services. And they've got packages starting at just $30 per month. You could have internet services for free if that's what you need in your household. Reach out to them today, cumberlandconnect.org, cumberlandconnect.org. When you get in touch with them, please always let them know. We do appreciate them being one of our sponsors here at 1100 WSGI and one street over. And, tell them U-Turn sent you. Chris Villines is here saying our departure here from just talking about staypositive.news on Faith Friday. That's what faith is all about. It's just being positive, sharing love. And yeah, that's what you are doing there.
Yeah.
So, the door is always open. We'll get you in here on Fridays anytime you want to come in.
Anytime.
Yeah, for sure. Anything on your way out as we're heading out? Any parting thoughts?
Like our page on Stay Positive News. Join our Facebook group, Stay Positive Mid-TN, and just to go out and spread that joy to others.
Yeah.
And that's about all I can think of.
Well, I appreciate you coming so much, and thank you guys for joining us for all that we have going on. And be sure and have a wonderful week. What we like to always say too is we're heading out on Friday. Is if you're not a part of a church fellowship, if you don't have a church family, and you're just like, oh, I've been to churches and just keep knocking on the door. You will find the place where you fit into the body. And if you don't have that in your life, you just do not know what you are missing. So find a church to be a part of and be faithful this weekend and have just a safe, wonderful weekend. And join us on Monday for 1100 WSGI. And we will be visiting with Trent Cobb from the fairgrounds. And we're going to get all that's going on at the fairgrounds. And there's a lot. Can't wait to hear from him on Monday. Have a wonderful day. Stay positive.news. Follow them and share it. Thank you, Chris, for joining us.
Thank you.
This is 1100 WSGI. God bless. Have a wonderful day.